What's going on, y'all? I'm here to talk about the really cool buffs and changes I've made for Iron Treads. If you're curious about Donphan or Great Tusk, I highly recommend you check out my channel. When you're done with this video, you can give the other videos a watch. I explain the other two much more in depth. As you can see, Iron Treads does optionally evolve from Donphan. Donphan has their own cool stuff going on. Again, check that video out after this one if you want to know more about that. But on screen, you can pause and read this if you're curious as to like the basics of how Donphan works. And here's the basics of how Great Tusk works and how they've been changed. First things first, they lost photosynthesis. I want to address that first because I know people are immediately going to be like, what the fuck, why'd you take away photosynthesis? Or in this case, quirk drive, but you get my point. Those are removed because I think that specifically Iron Treads, Great Tusk, Iron Moth, and Slitherwing would much prefer to abuse these rush type abilities. I think it's especially cool on Treads and Tusk because they evolve from Speed Boost Donphan, so getting those speed abilities to carry over is really neat. And I think it just makes a lot more sense for them. Of course, some people might disagree with the idea of taking away the signature abilities and stuff, but all the other Paradox Pokemon keep it. The what's the word for it? The consistency here, or the rule, I guess you could say here, is that because Iron Treads, Great Tusk, Iron Moth, and Slitherwing all have future and past counterparts, I think it's really cool to give them a special rule, right? So they don't have to follow the basic rules of the other Paradox Pokemon. Man, this Brick Break color, I keep fucking it up. I hate Google Cheats and how it like changes the colors around. Anyway, yeah, super dope. I love the idea that, I mean, this guy in electric terrain just zooming around, like, especially Treads, man. His whole thing is like spinning around, rolling around. So I think obviously 108 speed is already good, but when you're not guaranteed a plus speed nature, or you only have 20 speed IVs compared to the AI's 31, you're not actually as fast as you might think you would be. Of course, you're still quick, especially with Scarf. You can slap on a Scarf and outspeed literally the entire game with a Scarf. However, you can't switch your moves that way, and there's item clause and all that other stuff. Especially, it's also cool because with Volt Rush you can run max HP, so you can become super tanky and still, incredibly fast in electric terrain. It's even easier to abuse if you have an actual electric terrain or electric surge Mon, which of course tons of new Pokemon have that ability in this game. But manual electric terrain versus the AI is also very easy to set up and exploit with a terrain extender or a switch move. Most Pokemon get one switch move for the most part, so switch them in, switching your Treads after terrain goes up, and you can start zooming around and switching your moves and getting multiple kills in a row. Of course, Brazen is great for just raw damage boosting, so Treads and Tusk both have signature moves that come from Rhydon and Koraidon's moves, Electro Drift and Collision Course. So Electro Drift is now physical, and it's 150 base power to make it essentially stab, as you can read, it's like in parentheses stab, because I think Treads and Tusk having like pseudo fire and electric typings is really fucking cool. Hence why Tusk gets all these like high base power fire type moves, like Blazing Assault. Oh, I forgot to fix the Brutal Bash. God damn it! If you just came off watching the Tusk video, you know why that's funny. All right, I'm gonna write a message in my Discord to start my mess. So reminder to fix Brutal Bash Tusk, because I know my ass is gonna forget otherwise. Okay, back on topic though. Yeah, you've got Electro Assault, which is essentially like superpower, and Giga Impact. All of those are physical variants of Draco Meteor now, and with the ability Brazen, which is really cool on them, it fits their personality of this being this like charging first type of Pokemon, very like aggressive. They just ram into shit. So I think Brazen fits really well there. Filter is really cool. So Filter, essentially Tusk and Treads have like mirroring abilities. So Volt Rush, Solar Rush, both of them share Brazen, and then Filter versus Resilient. So that's super cool. Obviously, Filter fits the robot steel type vibes. Stuff like Electric Surge is obviously very cool, but everybody got Volt Rush there for that electric type, type ability. I think it's cooler to have that Volt Rush. And yeah, again, makes you super quick. You can get a bunch of kills. As for Electro Drift and Spin Out, so those are both essentially 150 base power because Spin Out is stab. So those are boosted to 180 base power with Brazen. So they're even stronger when you abuse Brazen, and you essentially are giving yourself +1 speed in exchange for those, in exchange for the massive recoil. However, you can also abuse Shell Bell, which is buffed in this ROM hack to heal you by 20% of the damage you deal. So you can abuse Shell Bell, switch in on like something that's slower than you, click one of those moves, kill them. And then you get that +1 speed and you heal off some of the recoil, so you're only taking 30 net recoil, which will allow you to get a couple kills, especially if the other moves you're using aren't recoil moves. If you're using like tons of your other moves. I mean, I'm not going to list them all, but there are tons of other moves that you have that aren't recoil. Of course, you do have a good amount of recoil moves. You got Volt Tackle, Head Smash, Wild Charge, Takedown, Play Rough, Hell Thrust. Also, some of these weirder moves are as a result of evolving from Donphan, like Gunk Shot, Poison Fang, Poison Jab, which honestly aren't even that weird when you consider that other Future Paradox mons get those moves, like the Swords of Justice. They get like Poison Jab and shit. And Valiant gets Poison Jab, shit like that. So I don't think it's actually that weird, at least compared to the other ones. But of course, as new additions, they might seem weird. But again, it's because of the pre-evolution. So he has to keep all the TMs from Donphan and also all the level up moves, as you can see. I mean, all of the level up moves fit fine. The only weird ones like Hoodwink. Like, how is this guy acting cute? But that's just because of Fan P. So same with Encore. Fan P gets Encore. So now Treads does as well. Stuff like that. But otherwise, yeah, tons of great utility. I mean, this thing's obviously super tanky, 90, 120, 108. I like him having the highest SPDF of the three. I mean, the other two have low SPDF stats, but of course their HP makes up for it, and Donphan can use a Violite. And then Tusk has 130 HP, 131 HP, so his 67 SPDF is much, much, much better, especially because you can invest in EVs whenever you want in a round hack like this. You can switch around your EV spreads to take special hits better. So everything is bulkier than you think it is when it comes to abusing it yourself, because you should be optimizing your EV spreads depending on the matchup, you know? In this case, you do have three heal moves in the form of Sediment, Fortify, and Recharge. Fortify and Sediment are the same thing. Sediment heals you by 2/3 in the sand, technically, so, you know, if you have a sand stream on or some shit, then you could abuse Sediment. But it's nice, you know, once in a while to slap on a heal move. You've also got other really cool shit, like Steel Roller is really cool. Steel Roller is a really funny move. It essentially will give you +2 speed, and it's 130 base power. However, it has to be under terrain. So I buffed it, again, to give you +2 speed. So the payoff is huge, but you do have to set up terrain beforehand, and then it removes the terrain. So it takes a bit of setup, but I mean, even it's not that fucking hard, man. Tons of mons get terrain moves, right? So you can click terrain move, click switch move, or run a eject button, switch into your treads, click Steel Roller, and now you got a +2, you know, speed treads for free on top of a 130 base power move that you hopefully killed whatever's in front of you with, and now you can proceed to get more kills with that the speed boost, and you can run a boosting item as well, you know, like a life orb or whatever other item you want to run. Yeah, overall, I mean, you've got other cool, you know, you could even do some loaded dice crap with like Spike Cannon, Rock Blast, Icicle Spear. I did get them Icicle Spear because of the fact that they get Ice Shard normally, so, and they also get Ice Spinner normally, so I see Icicle Spear personally as a TM, at least. As a TM, it's not too weird. They don't keep Ice Shard because it's an egg move only, and it doesn't make any sense for them to learn that by level up at all. But of course, they've got Excel Rock, which is like another priority move anyway, and that one actually makes sense for them to learn by level up. So, yeah, I mean, this guy's got tons of great coverage. Again, the electric, the ground steel is already good, and then when you get that electric on top of it, you got the, you know, superpower, close combat. All of those moves are that you can see that are bolded are boosted by 20% by Brazen. At level 100, you also got OP shift gear. Obviously, that's pretty broken. I might end up adding a soft ban on setup moves, honestly, or like case by case type deal. It's there for flavor, and I mean, it just fits too damn well. And I don't know. I mean, I could give it to like AI only tarot, but it's fine. I mean, it's not as free as you might think, but I would say with like loaded dice shift gear type shit, like breaking sashes, you know, like you've got that stab spike cannon and the coverage, like you break sashes. The only thing you're worried about at that point is like quick claw on the AI. That's the only thing that's going to stop your like sweep at that point. But it's level 100 for a reason. It's up to you if you want to allow it or not. I think as the game goes on and as the game is out, we can decide how to handle setup moves, you know, case by case type of deal. I think a lot of them will be fine, and other ones maybe not so much. Because of Move Relearner specifically, even though I did remove Protect and put a bunch of other anti-setup stuff into play on the AI and stuff. But we'll see as the game is out, you know. That's for later on to decide. But it's obviously a very good tool. I would say even just Electro Drift Spin Out are pretty broken, of course, because obviously it's dealing a shitload of recoil, which is how it's balanced, and it's dropping your defenses. So, you know, the second there's a Quick Claw on in the AI team, you got to switch the hell out, period. You just have to. Unless you're, I don't know, killing them with Accelerock or some shit, but yeah. Not the strongest priority moves in this case, so you're probably not going to be able to do that non-stab accelerate. I mean, I guess if it's super weak to it, you can, but yeah, super fun to use regardless. Volt Tackle is obviously super cool. Zing Zap gives you +1 speed, however, you have to run it with Wide Lens. Recharge gives you that charge effect on top of healing you a little bit, so you can use that with stuff. Oh, Spark! I didn't cover Spark. That's another regular priority move. That's a electric type quick attack. So, or electric type Accelerock, I guess, if you want to call it that. So that's also a cool little option. I think, dude, if you got like Terra Electric, again, if you read the description, it explains how Terra is supposed to be handled on this ROM hack. It's RNG'd. But if you pulled Terra Electric, that'd be so fucking cool, dude. Oh god, that would be so crazy. That Electro Drift is going insane. And all the other electric moves are super cool. But yeah, yeah, Electro Assault and Superpower, again, they're electrical meteor type moves, so that's really, really powerful. 168 base power, yeah. Head Smash, also 168 base power, and it's even more spammable than something like Electro Assault or Superpower. Of course, it does deal massive recoil, though, so you got to keep that in mind. You got to play around it a bit. Not too hard to do, but something to keep in mind regardless. Headlong Rush and CC basically have, pretty much no drawback. The defense drop is not a big deal when it's in-game, and you can just, switch around easily and stuff and mitigate the weakness of dropping your stuff. Even in competitive, those are crazy moves, let alone in-game. But, they make sense. I don't see any reason why Treads shouldn't get Headlong and why Donphan shouldn't get Headlong Rush. It makes no sense to me personally that the other two don't get it. It's kind of dumb. Yeah, I've pretty much covered everything. Very tanky with, I haven't, I lied. The filter, super good. Obviously, lets you tank, all types of super effective hits that you might need to tank and then switch around after the fact, or boost up, if you want to do like filter weakness policy into like Ice Spinner or Flame Wheel, both of which will boost your speed. You can do that, take a hit. Or Trailblaze as well. Again, Trailblaze is from Donphan. I know it's kind of, it's not even that weird on Treads, to be honest, but yeah. Seed Bomb, that's a weird one on Treads, but again, that Donphan gets Seed Bomb, so now Treads gets it. Play Rough, another really weird one, but Donphan gets Play Rough, and even fucking Great Tusk gets Play Rough, so yeah. Tons of awesome ways you can abuse this guy, though. Super cool and versatile mon. The three abilities, you got the speed boosting one, the offense boosting one, and then the bulky utility one. But filter can also be used offensively with stuff like weakness policy as well, of course. But in general, it's just nice if you like AV filter, whatever. There's all types of ways, AV filter, volt switch / U-turn, so many different opportunities and possibilities that you can take advantage of with that move relenner and item clause, kind of forcing you to experiment more with your items a little bit. So all that's super fun. Again, that end game, the strong speed boosting moves are really, really strong on this guy. Scarf in general is really good with Brazen. Bit of a Scarf hog, but really you can argue that's for like any offensive mon. And again, you only get one per team, so, and who knows, I don't know exactly at this point in development when they'll be available, like the items, Scarf. Who knows, maybe like maybe one day in like a year from now I'll fucking remove them. Who knows, man, I don't know, we'll have to see as time goes on, because I will be updating the game, frequently as I play test it and other people play test it and stuff, once it's actually out for good. Yeah, hopefully I've covered everything. Metal Sound is great utility as well. That drops special attack and special defense by -2, so you can run some like bulky metal. It's a team support shit. It really depends on the situation. You can use my guy with just heal move, Metal Sound, U-turn to enable somebody else. Metal Burst plus filter is also really good because you can take a hit you wouldn't otherwise be able to take and dish it back out. Rocks is good support in game for like breaking focus sashes and versus some mono type teams like mono fire, mono ice bosses or whatever. Yeah, everything else, I think all the other moves make perfect sense flavor-wise. Head Smash, Volt Tech, all that crap. If you ignore the fact that there used to be more exclusive moves, but they are no longer like that. So, yeah, I'm hoping I'm not repeating myself too much. I don't really know what else there is to talk about. Bolt Rush, obviously very good. I don't want people to like. Oh, I guess a special attack drop. It's 14 minutes in, but people are like, "Why are you min-maxing all the paradoxes?" And it's like. It's not even, man, I don't know how to even respond to people who think that, but in this context, it's because Donphan is 55, and then Tusk is 53, which also, for the record, makes a cool little pattern. It goes down by 1, it's 55, 54, 53, kind of cool. But, and Donphan, Tusk is 53 normally, so, yeah. Yeah, I just think it makes sense for him to have the same special attack as others. Obviously, if it was up to me, I'd make him fucking mixed. That's cool as hell. He's a robot guy, but there's no BST for mixed. It just doesn't work. Sadly, I would love to though. That'd be cool. Yeah, thank you for listening. Let me know if you made it to the end of the video. Shout out to you if you did, and I'll be back for more of these guys coming up. Peace.